we're going to look at another problem where we're simplifying a radical, and this one's going to be a cube root. So we know it's a cube root because the index, which is going to be in this part of the radical symbol, is a 3. So we're going to need to take out things that are used as a factor 3 times, things that are cubed to give us this. So let's start out by factoring the 162 using our prime numbers again. So we can use that upside down symbol. If you want to use a factor tree, I'm going to use the upside down division symbol. So 2 will go into 162 since it's an even number. 2 goes into 16 8 times, 2 goes into 2 1 time, so 2 goes in there 81 times. 2 won't go into 81 because it's an odd number, but 3 will, because when we add these two digits together we get 9, and 3 goes into 9, so 3 is certainly going to go into 81. 3 goes into 8 2 times, and that is 8 minus 6 leaves 2. With the 2 left over, put the 2 in front of the next digit, we've got 21. 3 goes into 21 7 times, or just use your calculator. So now we want to see, does 3 go into 27? Well, yes it does. Goes in there 9 times. Does 3 go into 9? Yes it does. Goes in there 3 times. Now at the bottom here we have a prime number. And so we have found that 162 is 2 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So I've written it out here so you can look at that and see that. Now we need to find the cube root of that. We are asking, what is it that I cubed to get this 162? Well, here's a set of 3s, a set of 3 3s. We didn't really need to write it out like we did over there. We could have just come over here and looked for 3 of a kind. There are 3 of the 3s, so we will bring out a 3. All of those 3s come together as a group, and we see just the 3 on the outside, and then we underline what's left. That's going to be a 2 and a 3 left on the inside. So what we circled comes out, the 3 comes out. What's left on the inside is 2 times 3. So now we're going to figure out what happens with our A's. So remember, you could write out 8 letter A's. You could write the letter A 8 times, and then figure out how many groups of 3 you have. In fact, we'll do that for the letter A just so you can get the feel of how that shortcut is, why it makes sense to use it. So here's my 8 A's. We're going to look for groups of 3 in my 8 A's. I found 2 groups of 3. Here's one. Here's a second one. It leaves 2 on the inside. That means on the outside coming out I would have a square with a cube root of a to the second left on the inside, because I had 2 left on the inside. But what I really did after writing out 8 A's was I took the number 8 and I divided that into groups of 3. 3 goes into 8 2 times with a remainder of 2. This is the 2 that goes on the A on the outside. This is the number, which happens to be a 2, that goes on the A that's on the inside. We're going to make sure we put cube root every time we write the radical symbol on this problem, since we started with cube roots. So once again, so this was for the letter A, so we ended up with A to the second coming out, A to the second staying on the inside. Now we're going to do the same thing for, now we're going to use just the shortcut for B. There's no reason to write out 12 B's. When we're going to take, if we did, we would take those 12 B's, so this is for the letter B, for B, we would take and write 12 B's, we would divide it into groups of 3, that means we're taking the number 12 and dividing by 3, we get 4. There's no remainder. And so we're just going to have on the outside B to the 4th, because if we wrote 12 B's, we would circle up 4 groups of 3 B's. Now let's use the one for C. For the letter C, we would write out 5 C's and then divide it into groups of 3, or we can just take the number 5, divide it by 3, we get 1, remainder 2. And so this 1 is going to go on C on the outside, but I can just let that be understood. And then I'm going to have C on the inside with a 2 as its exponent. Let me lengthen that so that it goes far enough. And now I seem to have crowded myself into a box up here. I need all of this to be written out and simplified because I need to multiply that part together. So I'm going to drop down here. Sorry for the break there. We're going to have 3A to the second, B to the 4th, C times the square root of 2 times 3 gives us 6, a to the second, c to the second. And so this is what we end up with for our answer on this problem.